Hi, in this video I'm going to go through how to optimize your robotic pool vacuum for above ground pools. The robot vacuum I'm using here is a Wybot A1, but similar procedures can be done for whatever vacuum you're using. Alright, so the beauty of a robotic vacuum is that you can gently set it in your pool and let it go do its thing while you do something else. But there are a couple of things you can do to optimize your cleaning. I want to go through those in this video first. Then, at the end, I'll go through the unboxing and initial setup. I hope that's not too confusing, but I want to get to the most useful stuff first. If you're just setting up a vacuum like this for the first time, then be sure to stick around to the end for the setup and assembly. Alright, let's go through setting the cleaning cycle. This vacuum has 4 different options. It can run for a total of 2 hours on one charge, so your options are option 1/1, run for 2 hours straight. Option 2/2, run for 1 hour, 2 days in a row. Option 3/3, run for 40 minutes, 3 days in a row. Or option 4/7, run 30 minutes every other day. So, to choose the option you want, start by turning the vacuum on by pressing the power button for 1 second. Then release. When the lights turn purple, press the power button several times to cycle through the options. When you have a light next to the option you want, stop pressing it. Then put the vacuum in the water. It will calibrate for a few seconds, then start its first cycle. Next, let's go through optimizing the path. This robot does not use an app, GPS, LiDAR, or anything like that to map out where it vacuums. It's really simple, and in some ways that's refreshing. It works off of random bounce navigation. Basically, it just goes until it hits a wall, then reverses until it hits another wall, continuously by random walk until it has covered the entire floor of the pool. So that being said, you can alter the orientation of the steering wheels for the shape of pool you have. The default setting is A-C. This means that the back wheel is set to position A and the front wheel is set to position C. If you want a small rebounding angle, I think that means a more curved path, set the wheels to A-B. I have a round pool, so I set it to B-C. To change the wheel orientation, take off the cover of the vacuum, then remove the filters. Locate the front and rear wheel pivot points. And note the AB and AC positions. This one is currently set to the default A-C. So I'll change the A to position B to get the B-C combination. To do that, use a flat blade screwdriver to carefully pry back the tab. Then press down on the wheel peg to take the wheel out. With the wheel out, you can clearly see the tab that should now go into slot B. Put the wheel back in 180 degrees, and press it upward until it snaps into place. Now you're all set. Reassemble the vacuum. One thing I want to note is that there is a hook that comes with the vacuum that is handy for fishing the vacuum out of the pool when you're not in there with it. Attach the hook to whatever existing pole you already have. In my case, the pole I have was too small to fit over the hook body, but it did fit inside of it. There's a divot for a hole, but it was not drilled out yet. I drilled it out. I recommend using a 1/4-inch drill bit for this purpose, if you find yourself in the same situation. Alright, let's go ahead and run the vacuum. I was gone for a week in the late summer and the pool started to get green, so this is a perfect time to show the vacuum in use. To turn it on, press the on switch for a second. When the lights turn purple, press the on switch until the vacuuming option you want is selected, then carefully put it in the water. The vacuum will sink to the bottom and initialize for 15 seconds or so. Then it will start vacuuming. When it hits a wall, it'll bounce back, and take another run at it, then reverse directions. This is a sort of feature to vacuum the wall crack more since debris tends to accumulate there. Just let it run until it's done. It will park itself next to a wall and shut down. A couple of things I ran into that might be helpful for you. If you have a ladder, take it out or tip it up. The vacuum generally just bounces off of it, but in one case it got wedged underneath it. So it's good to take the ladder out if possible. Another issue I had was holes or divots under your pool. I had a gopher tunnel under the pool which created some low channels. So irritating. Anyway, the vacuum will get hung up on those if they're deeper than about 1 inch or so. Okay, so when the vacuum is done, fish it out with the grappling hook and clean the filters. To do this, on this vacuum, unclasp the buckle on each side. Lift off the top. Remove the fine filter tray, and remove the 180 micron foam filter. Then remove the mesh filter screen. Here's some debris on the screen. The bottom of the vacuum is where all the junk accumulates. Leaves, seeds, and fine silt. Take a hose and spray out all that junk. This part is pretty satisfying, so I'll linger here a bit. Next, spray off the filter screen, and spray off the foam filter. Then reassemble the components. The filter screen goes on first with the small tabs sticking up, then the piece of foam, then the fine filter tray on top. Line up the tabs with the slots. Then set the top cover back on and clasp on the side buckles. And that's about it. Alright, so the last thing I want to show is the initial setup of the vacuum. When you first unbox it, you'll have a quick start guide, a few accessory pieces, a direction paddle, and an instruction manual. The regular 120 volt power supply. The cord is about 3 feet or 1 meter long. Then you've got the grappling hook for fishing the vacuum out of the water. Next, the vacuum itself. Here's what the outside looks like. And here's the bottom. I like that the main drive wheels have some rubber grip on them. The 2 steering wheels have a little play in them. And the suction port has a rubber flap to keep the debris inside the chamber. On the front and back there are the water exit ports with some rubber flaps on them. Now, there is some prep work to do before you operate the vacuum for the first time. So take it apart by unclasping the buckles. Remove the top, remove the filters, and there are 2 bags of desiccant inside. Remove those bags of silica and set them aside. Then put the vacuum back together. Note that there is a mesh screen filter as well as a 180 micron foam filter. These nest together such that the 2 tabs on the mesh filter fit into 2 slots on the fine filter. These filters only fit onto the base one way due to their shape. Then put the cover back on and buckle the clasps. The only real assembly you need to do is to put on the direction flap. To do this, orient the flap so that the flag part points toward the center of the vacuum, as shown here. There's a small tab at the bottom that has to fit into the slot. Press it on until it clips into place. Then locate the rubber end cap and press it on. Note that it has a small groove that fits into where the tab is. In other words, the groove should face upward. Make sure you charge the vacuum before first use. My first charge took about an hour or so. Then, be sure to put the rubber stopper onto the charging port before you put it into the pool. And that's about it. I hope you found this video helpful. If so, please like and subscribe.